Okay, so I'm going to show you how you can hit your calves using our belt squat machine. Alright, so this is a multi-use machine, predominantly squats. You can do your dips, you can do your calves, you can do your sort of stiff leg deadlifts, that sort of stuff. Any low travel vertical movement you can do on the belt squat machine. Alright, so calves then. You're going to want to position your foot on the edge of these sort of foot plates here. So about 60% of your foot overhanging the edge of the foot plate. So for that reason, we don't want the loads, we want the load to be sort of dropping as vertical as we possibly can from our belt, from our hips. So if I unscrew this and pull it to its furthest travel outwards, that gives me the best position to help me get that weight moving vertically as opposed to sort of moving horizontally and get that maximum load working on the calf. The load always works better when it's working against gravity rather than sort of travelling sort of horizontally. We want any load that we're working with to travel vertically if we can. We're going to use the belt. We're going to use it in the traditional way, popping it across the hips. I've got my spotting handle set up, which is going to help me hinge at the hip a little bit, just to help put the posterior side of the leg on stretch, so I'll feel a little bit of a stretch in my hamstrings, and I'm also going to feel a nice deep stretch in my calf as well if I perform these reps correctly. So I've got a little bit of load on. You've got your loading pegs, exactly the same loading pegs that you would use for your dips or you would use for your belt squats. You put a lot more plates on for your belt squats than you can with your dips and your calves, but they're there to help load up. So choose whatever load is relevant to you. Pop the belt across the hips. Make sure it's not up on the sort of lumbar or even the mid-back. I've seen people using this. Make sure it sits across the crest of the hip, that bony protrusion of the hip there, so the belt wants to sit in the middle of there, or the middle of the belt wants to feel that sort of crest. Use the carabiners to clip in. From there, step up onto the drive plate. So if you want to position 60% of your foot so it's overhanging the foot plate. So if I hinge forward at the hip now and put my hands on the spotting handles, I've got a nice little hinge at the hip, putting the posterior sort of chain of the leg on stretch, the rear of the leg on stretch, allowing my heels to drop lower than the foot plate puts my calf on a strong stretch as well. And of course you want to be working these muscle groups from a deep stretch if you can to get the sort of maximum benefit. On my right hand side I've got my safety. Let's take that safety off so the machine can work through its fullest range, or my muscles can work through their fullest range without the machine bottoming out on the safety. So from here I want to go up onto my tiptoes, all the way up as high as I can, and then slow into the descent into the deepest stretch I can. Hang out at the stretch just for a second, then drive up onto the tiptoes, down into a full stretch, up onto the tiptoes, down into a full stretch. As I come, we want to be going at 12 o'clock with the toes on this one. As I come up onto the tiptoes, I want to make sure that the crease of my trainer is across the trainer. It's not at 45 degrees with the forces going off to the side. I want to make sure that the forces are going through my big toe, so that the crease of the trainer is dead straight across. Full stretch at the bottom, slow full stretch, big drive up, all the way up, big squeeze, work the muscle through its fullest range, slow in the negative, deep into the stretch, milk that stretch, drive up, one more rep, slow, stretch, all the way down, drive up, make sure the crease is straight, and you perform your reps that way. When you finish the reps, pop your safety back on, step back off the platform, which is going to put some slack into the chain, which is then going to allow you to just unclip yourself, and you can rest in between sets with that there. And that's how to do your calf raises on the belt squat machine.